Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to my final video of 2023. As I do every year, this is my look back at the year, my highlights, my year in numbers, and I will finish off by giving you my Car of the Year awards. So, if you've not seen one of these before, hopefully you will sit down and enjoy. Grab yourself a drink, get some popcorn, roll the titles. Now, every time I do one of these, I start by delving into my analytics and giving you my year in numbers. I need my glasses for this one though. Okay, first number I'm going to start you with is 202. That is how many videos I've uploaded to YouTube this year. This year, the channel has amassed 11,218,000 views. An immense number that I find it very difficult to get my head around. An even bigger number though is those views have amassed 1,184,209 hours of watch time. Now, I've done some number crunching. If you were to sit down and watch me on YouTube for that period of time, you would be watching me non-stop for 135 years. Good luck with that one. This year, I've had 267,454 thumbs up. I've also had 6,070 thumbs down. But that's not a bad ratio, is it? This next number takes me a lot of time. 34,427 comments. I can't say I answer every one anymore, but I read them all and I give every single one a thumbs up and a heart. And I answer as many as I can, but that takes a lot of time. But I will endeavour to engage with comments. If you take the time to comment, I will take the time to read it and try and get back to you. And then the big number, the number that still blows my mind. This year we have added 34,617 new subscribers as of this morning. The channel is still growing, and I had hoped to do it by the end of the year, but that's not going to happen now. But surely within the first month or so of next year, we are going to hit 200,000 subscribers. Now, on the 1st of January 2024, I will have been doing YouTube for 8 years. And if you'd have asked me then what I thought I'd be doing in 8 years' time, I sure as hell wouldn't have said I'd be a full-time YouTube with 200,000 subscribers. It only seems like yesterday I got that, my 100,000 subscriber play button from YouTube. Sadly, the next one of those YouTube gives out is at 1 million. So I've got quite a lot to go before I get to that one. But thank you to everybody who has subscribed, a number that totally blows my mind. Now, before we get back into looking at the year that has been 2023, a few thank yous I wanted to make. First up, I wanted to thank everyone at the Hendy Group. It has been a privilege to be a brand ambassador for Hendy's for the last couple of years. I've done some fantastic events with them this year. It was great to see their annual sales awards early on in the year, and I'm looking forward to going to next year's ones in February. I did a great event with Tiff at Thruxton where we got to drive around in a moat with a bucket of water. I don't know whose idea that was, but anyway. But having a long-termer from Hendy's really gives me an opportunity, not just to bring some of the latest and greatest cars to you, but to live with a car. I really get under its skin and I'm able to give an authoritative view on that car, and I'm absolutely loving my current long-termer, my Defender 90, but that goes back in the new year and be swapped out for something else. But big thanks to Hendy. I also wanted to thank Lockton Performance, my insurance partner. Most of the cars I have on the channel are either insured by a dealership or by the brand themselves. But if it's an owner's car, then my insurance policy provided by Lockton steps in and enables me to film those cars with the confidence that I am fully insured. So, you know, some of the things that we've created this year would not be possible without Lockton. So a huge thank you for all the team at Lockton for your continued support. And then the last thank you, I want to thank Phil Bradley. My mate Phil has been working with me since the summer, about July, to grow my Facebook audience. I've just given you all of my numbers on YouTube, but I really wanted to push Facebook. Now, I've had Facebook since the start, since I started 8 years ago, and I had a grand total of 5,000 followers on Facebook back in June. Since Phil's been working with me, repurposing my YouTube content to put it onto Facebook, we are now 31,000 followers, and Facebook has become a very important part, an important cog in the mechanism of me being a full-time YouTuber, and that would not be possible without Phil's hard work. So Phil, thank you very much. We have great things to do next year, I'm sure. But if you guys aren't following me on Facebook or Instagram, please make sure you do, because I put lots of extra content on there that isn't on YouTube. I think one of the things that struck me this year, it has been a real year of travel. I've done a huge number of flights, lots and lots of miles in the car, and some incredible trips. Too many to go through all of them, but a couple of my highlights I wanted to just share with you. We started the year by going to the Dakar with Audi UK way back in January, and that for me was an immense trip. To get that close to a motorsport event that I've always loved, and to have it to be shared with the likes of Joe and Harry Metcalf and Paul from Love Cars was just a really cool experience. To get so close to Team Audi was something I will treasure for a very long time. Literally a few weeks after I came back from Dakar, I went to Finland, Ivalo in Finland with Michelin, and that was an amazing trip to experience Finland and the cold temperatures, -30, but to get to skid a car on ice for the first time was wicked. And I am very excited. I am going to be going back to Finland next year. In the early part of next year, content will be coming to the channel. So very much looking forward to that. I got to go to the Tour de France with Skoda, and for me as a cyclist, you probably just see the corner of my bike there just on my turbo trainer. I love my bikes, and to get to go to the Tour de France, which is an event I've followed for years and years, to get that close, to ride out with Andy Schleck, to meet all the teams at the start, to then fly over the peloton in a helicopter. It was an incredible trip. So, big question, which were my best performing videos of the year? I've got to start by saying it's becoming increasingly difficult to get long format videos to do well on YouTube. There's this big trend towards short format content, and I will be trying to do more of that next year for sure. But I did have some videos that did particularly well. So I'll give you my top three. Third best performing video of the year was a video I did with my mate Moggy from Electric Classic Cars called The Truth About EV Battery Life. And that video this year has done 528,600 views, which is a huge number. I'm always chuffed if a video goes over 100,000 views, let alone 500,000 views. Second best performing video I filmed early in the year. I did an EV towing test with a BMW iX, helped out by my good mate Rick the Spud. So far that video has done 535,813 views, another 500,000 plus video. But by far and away the best performing video of the year. Again, I filmed this quite early on in the year. I went all the way out to the Netherlands to experience the PAL V flying car. And so far that video has done 995,172 views, just short of the magic 1 million view mark. But an immense, immense set of videos there. I do need to, though, mention a video that I actually made last year, and it's still doing immense numbers. This year alone, it's done 831,000 views, and that was a video about the reality of living with an EV. So far, that video has amassed, since October 2022, it's done 1.8 million views. Now, we're nearly at my car awards, but two things I wanted to just briefly mention that were big highlights for me this year. First up was Ironman Marbella 70.3, a series of videos I did earlier on in the year. I went out to Marbella in May to compete in my first ever half Ironman. The video itself didn't do all that well, but I just wanted to say thank you to the support of all of you and also my amazing friends and family, because we raised a huge amount of money for the Born Free Foundation. It was the biggest physical challenge of my life, that's for sure. Very, very difficult, much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I did originally have intentions to go back and do it again next year, but I've tweaked those and I'm actually going to be doing more cycling and running next year, and I plan to do a big kind of bike tour, hopefully in the Alps when the weather gets nicer down there in the summertime. But yeah, Ironman was pretty special. And then I also just wanted to briefly mention the Drive Talk podcast. That was a project we started earlier this year, myself, Joe and Pat. With the support of Michelin UK, we have grown a podcast from 0 to 6,500 YouTube subscribers. We're consistently in the top 10 leisure automotive podcasts on the Apple Podcast charts. And we have some huge plans for next year. So we're going to be bringing some live events to you. We're going to hopefully get some great guests, go to some great venues. So huge things to come from the Drive Talk podcast. If you're not already interacting with that, all you need to do is either on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, just search Drive Talk Podcast. Talk spelled TORQUE, and you'll find us. If you can hit that subscribe button or give us a follow, give us a rating, that really helps us grow the podcast. But we really do have high aspirations for the podcast next year. Okay, first set of awards, although I'm not actually going to give out an award, but I wanted to give you I often get asked, what's the best car you've driven? Well, I thought I would give you my 5 best cars that I've driven this year, and this was really difficult to narrow it down to just 5 because I've driven some mega cars this year. And I think for me, when I started YouTube, that was the one thing I wanted to get to do, was to drive some cool cars, and boy, have I done that this year. So let me give you my 5 and then I'll run a highlights reel of all of them. So in 5th place was the BMW 1M that I drove out to the Nürburgring with Joe and Pat. An absolute corker of a car, just the right amount of power, rear wheel drive, manual gearbox, brilliant thing to drive. 4, the Ariel Nomad. That thing, it was like driving a full-size radio-controlled car. Brilliant thing, totally impractical, ridiculous really when you think about it, but oh my days was it good fun. It just had this visceral nature, this ability to make you feel awesome when you were driving it, and I was only driving it on the road. I would love to have taken it off-road. Number 3, now I've driven some pretty special Ferraris this year, but again, earlier on in the year, I got to drive the 296 GTB at Goodwood at pace, a hugely impressive car, just so quick. Now, it would have been eclipsed by the SF90 when I drove that in Italy, had it not been for the fact that in Italy it was pouring down with rain, and that really compromised my track experience of SF90. It was still amazing, but it was just, I mean, we were spinning the wheels up in 4th gear, so I would have loved to have driven that in the dry. Second best car I've driven this year. I only drove this on the road. I would love to drive it on track. Hopefully that will happen next year. I got to drive, thanks to my good mate Ollie from Le Mans Coupes, I got to drive the Spartan. Now the Spartan is a very lightweight, track-oriented, high-performance manual weapon of a car. Amazing soundtrack, biblical performance, very, very impressive car, and I would love to have a go at that on track, so hopefully we will do that next year. And then my best car I've driven this year, sadly I didn't make a video of it because I wasn't able to film it, but when I was at the Porsche Silverstone Experience Centre, I got to drive the 911 992 GT3 RS, and it just blew my mind. I got to drift it, I got to drive it at pace, really exploit the full performance envelope of the car. Now I'm hoping to get a GT3 RS for a few days early in the new year to drive around on the road, and in that video hopefully I can share some of my detailed experiences of that car. But let's take a look back at some of those awesome cars that I got to drive this year. we go. Oh my God! Oh my days. What a thing. Okay, time for my new car of the year 2023. Criteria for this, I went to lots of launches this year, and I also did a few static launches where I didn't get to drive the car. So these are cars that were released this year and I did actually get to drive them. Otherwise, the Alfa 33 Stradale would have won, because for me that's one of the most beautiful cars that we've seen come to market in the last 10 to 15 years. A stunning thing. Absolutely fell in love with it, but sadly I haven't driven it yet. I will be working on Alfa Romeo next year and hopefully resolve that. But this was also a very, very difficult list. I'm going to give you my top three. So, cars that were nearly on this list. M3 Touring, very close. Kia EV9, very impressive, but they didn't quite cut the mustard. My third best car of 2023 was the BMW G87 M2. And I got to drive this car in Germany when me, Joe and Pat went out to the Nürburgring with the Drive Talk podcast. And I think just because of the roads, I was able to exploit the car. It is exceptionally quick on the road. The manual gearbox, the driver engagement, the driving position, just for me made it a very, very special car. Let's see how I got on. Brakes down to second. It's got a lot of torque, so actually it's quite tall geared. It'll do 70 miles an hour in second. So you don't really, on a road like this, need anything other than second and third. You're going to be doing plenty of speed just with those two gears. It's wide, but you can still place the car nicely on the road, but on the way out of the corner, it's got so much grunt and so much pull. Deals with the road surface nicely, although to be quite honest, the road surfaces over here in Germany are so much better than ours in the UK. But oh, look at this road. So you know what, I might live in Germany and do my car reviews over here because it's so much better. In second place, this is a car I drove again early on in the year, and it was one that just ticked lots of boxes for me. It would be perfect for my lifestyle, for cycling and having the dogs and so on. It had the practicality, but also amazing performance and a stunning soundtrack. And it is the Maserati Grecale Trofeo, a car I just really, really loved. And I think one of the things I loved about it is you really don't see many of them around, and that just makes it that little bit more special. It has a lot of overlap, or a lot of things in common with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which is not a bad thing in my book because that's one of my favourite cars as well. But I really did like the Grecale Trofeo. Okay, I'm now in Corsa and on the hard damper setting, manual override. I mean, the display's changed. It's a little bit more racy. Well, big gear selector, what I wanted in the GT. Oh my days. This has the performance of a really high-end sports car, dare I say it, even supercar. It reminds me a little bit of an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, but just with a smaller footprint. And then last, well, my car of the year 2023, I did drive it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film it. That's a common theme. But I did have a film of me in it, if that makes sense, because I did a shoot with a brand at the Festival of Speed. And if you've seen my film from the Festival of Speed, you are probably going to start to join the dots up. This car is the ultimate evolution of the car that I've got parked in my garage. And I just was very excited when I heard they were doing this car. Really wanted to get to grips with it and have a drive of it. I've only driven it very briefly and would love to spend more time in it. But it is, of course, the Porsche Spider RS. An absolutely beautiful, beautiful car. However, I wouldn't buy one, which you might find strange. It is a beautiful car. The one thing that would make me not want to buy one is its roof. Now, my Boxster just has a button that you push and the roof comes down. If you buy the 718 Spider, there's a latch and a little bit of manual process and a bit of electrics and a bit of manual, and it's a bit faffy. The Spider RS is even worse than that. It's like 10 to 15 minutes to take the roof off. And I think that would mean I would never buy one. However, I just think it's the ultimate Porsche for me. Absolutely sensational car. So there you go. They are my top 3 cars of 2023. Put in the comments below, which one would you have chosen? What's your best car of the year? So there you go, 2023. What a year that was. Now, looking forward to next year. Wow, next year is going to be a big one. I am now full-time. So on the 1st of January 2024 is the 8-year anniversary of me starting YouTube. Now, recently I've had a few people reach out, especially on the Q&A I did with Tracy a couple of days ago. Where is Ruby Roadster? Where is my mini Roadster JCW? Well, she is having some work done, and a video explaining all will drop on the channel on the 1st of January, because the first ever video I did on YouTube as Petrol Ped was with that car 8 years ago. So I thought it would be nice to freshen her up, give her some love, and actually just pare back some of the modifications, make her a little bit more usable. So lots of Ruby Roadster content coming. We need to finish off Project PP. That's going to happen early in the new year. We have had a bit of a setback, but I will explain all in the next video. I have a huge announcement coming to the channel early in the new year. I can't say anything at the moment, but it is going to elevate things significantly and give me access to some amazing content and some really exciting projects. I hope to do more shorts and just generally create better and better and better content. Myself, Joe and Pat have big plans for the podcast next year. Drive Talk Podcast is going to hopefully carry on increasing its scope and its quality. We want to get better guests, better backdrops. We just want to take things to the next level. We're going to be doing some live shows next year, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, very, very exciting times. But at the end of this video, my last thanks is to you, my lovely peddlers. I could not do what I do without you. I am in a very privileged position and I will never take it for granted. I'm going to work hard to bring you the very best content I can, but thank you for every watch, every like, every comment, every share. It's been very, very special to have this year, this journey, and long may it continue. But if you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next video, which is on the 1st of January. Project Ruby Roadster. She's having some work done. We're taking her to a very special place. I'll see you on that one, guys. You take care. And last but not least, to you and your loved ones and your family, I wish you all the very best for the new year, a healthy and prosperous 2024. I'm going to see you a lot next year. Let's do it. Let's make Petrol Ped as big as it can be. Take care and drive safe.